He had a serious heart issue. But there's nothing to tell him or tell us that there's anything wrong.
Around 1,500 young people die suddenly every year from previously undetected heart conditions.
And my lips had started going blue, I'd stopped breathing, my heart had stopped.
We've been told over 80,000 young people could be living with underlying heart issues that might flare up at any time.
These inherited heart disorders are rare in themselves, but when you add them together, they actually add up to a significant number.
So what's it like for people with these conditions and their families? And what can be done to stop more sudden cardiac deaths in young people? In 2016, I was diagnosed with a heart condition, mitral valve prolapse, which means one of my heart valves is leaky. At the age of 22, it was a shock, but I was one of the lucky ones. Many young people with heart conditions never get that diagnosis, and it can have catastrophic consequences.
William.
Hello.
Hi,
Nice
nice
to
to meet you.
Okay, nice
Yeah.
to meet you.
Barry.
You okay?
In the same year I got my diagnosis, Jill and Barry's son Dan was a 24-year-old on the up. A former footballer for Hull City. He just got a job and moved in with his girlfriend.
When Dan walked into a room, it gave the room a lift. He'd started work, he'd got his degree, he'd got the car, he'd got the girl, got the flat, everything.
On the day he died, Dan had been doing what he loved, playing football.
My phone went, it was one of his teammates. Basically said Dan had collapsed. Would we be able to get there?
Dan was rushed to the hospital nearest the game, over an hour from Barry and Jill's family home.
There were some nurses there and the consultant, and they just took us into a room, didn't they? Well, at that point we knew it wasn't good. And we just sat down and the consultant just said, "I'm sorry." And that was it, really.
To your knowledge, Dan was completely healthy. When they broke the news to you, what was going through your mind at that stage?
I don't know.
Disbelief.
Utter disbelief.
Well, you just go into shock. And we
I
just...
say because 24 hours before we'd FaceTimed and he was his usual self. He had a serious heart issue, heart problem. But there's nothing to tell him or tell us that there was anything wrong. He went out, he played the first half, had a break, went out in 10 minutes of the second half, and that was it.
It was later discovered Dan had a heart condition called ARVC, which weakens the walls of your heart and can sometimes lead to a cardiac arrest. If you could say one more thing to Dan, what would you say?
I love you.
Yeah.
But he knew.
Yeah. Sorry. He wasn't against giving hugs.
Stories like Dan's are shocking, but the British Heart Foundation have told us there could be over 80,000 15 to 25-year-olds living with undiagnosed heart conditions. Many will never have any problems, but for others, they'll only find out when it's too late.
These inherited heart disorders are rare in themselves, but when you add them together, they actually add up to a significant number. Thankfully, the majority of people won't be at risk for serious events such as sudden death, but a small proportion will be. In fact, around 1,500 young people a year die suddenly in the UK from these inherited heart conditions.
Professor Alain Jaber is a leading heart doctor who's looking into what causes unexpected cardiac deaths in young people.
We're trying to determine what the background genetic causes may be, particularly in those cases where no answer is available after doing a post-mortem or autopsy. What we're trying to do is take those answers, translate them in the family, and try to prevent any further sudden deaths from occurring.
Laura is a 27-year-old veterinary nurse. Like me, she's got a rare heart condition. she found out about hers 3 years ago in pretty shocking circumstances.
I'd been in work all day and I'd come home and me and my friend were going to go out for dinner, so she'd come in with me. I was just about to leave the house to go out and I said I felt faint, and when she turned around to check on me, I was on the floor. She thought I was messing around to start with and walked over to me, and my lips had started going blue. I'd stopped breathing, my heart had stopped.
Laura was in a coma for 3 days. She woke up in hospital in tears.
Just confusion, no idea what was going on. Everything was just so hazy and nobody wanted to tell me what happened to start with. They were all kind of too scared to stress me out and cause like another cardiac arrest.
Do we know how long your heart stopped working for?
About 5 minutes, I was told.
Animals keep you busy?
Yes, very busy.
Laura was diagnosed with something called long QT, an inherited problem with your heart rhythm, which means the heart muscle takes longer to recharge between beats.
But when you found out that you suffered a cardiac arrest at the age of 24, how did that make you feel?
I was shocked initially. Obviously, you expected something like that to happen to older people. You know, I was young. I thought I was, fit, healthy. I had no idea I had a heart condition, so to suddenly find out I'd had a full-on cardiac arrest was, absolutely shocking.
The symptoms of long QT, from blackouts to cardiac arrest, can be triggered by strenuous exercise, stress, or even something as simple as a sudden noise.
I've had an ICD implanted, so it's a defibrillator and a pacemaker, so it can obviously shock me plus pace my heart if I have kind of any irregular heart rhythm. So it's just on the left shoulder there. At least I know if it were to happen again, I have got that as a kind of my safety net now.
Listening to Laura was full on. If I'd not have got my diagnosis, I could have been in the same position. So what can be done to pick up these conditions more quickly?
Young people having symptoms need to be taken seriously, but then there'll probably be the majority where there isn't necessarily that family history or symptom of concern that may highlight them as being at risk. And the strategies for that really need to be part of research.
You okay?
So just saying, the last time we were actually here was on the Davies funeral.
Yeah.
Back in Hull, the Wilkinsons took us to the KC Stadium, home of the football club where Dan learnt to play. They're now trying to stop more deaths like Dan's from taking place. Through their charity, they've paid for more defibrillators at grassroots football clubs.
We just know it's right, trying to do some good. Yeah, the screenings or the defibs will.
It will save a life, ultimately.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do.